Welcome back to this week's episode of the Catnip Podcast. Today is Friday, June 9th. My name is Grace. I am your host like always. This is a podcast about knitting and sometimes hand-dyeing yarn, sometimes spinning, sometimes baking, some things that I just think would be interesting, and a lot of the times the weather, but mostly knitting because that is what I do. Like always, you can find the show notes on my blog, or they will be linked down below if you're on YouTube. All my various social medias, there's Facebook, Twitter, Ravelry, and Instagram. All of those will be linked down below and in the show notes as well. There's a Ravelry podcast group, which you can find on Ravelry if you click the groups tab and you search for the Catnip Podcast. It'll pop up. I'd love for it if you would introduce yourself. I love hearing from my viewers. There's also an Ask Me Anything thread in that group, so if you have any kind of questions about myself or knitting or whatever, you can ask a question there and I'll either answer it in the thread or I'll answer it on the podcast. I also have an online shop where you can buy some yarn that I've hand dyed. It is thecatnityarns.bigcartel.com. And yeah, if you'd like to hit the subscribe button, that would be wonderful, or even better, you could hit the like button, that would be great. And yeah, if you'd like to grab something tasty today, I have wonderful tea because it is very rainy, but I will talk about that in just a minute so the intro is not too long. But I have a brand new mug that I got from Target, and it is just so pretty. It's like light pink and white, and then like these little flecks are gold, and I know you can't see that very well, but they're gold, and it is my new favorite mug because it is also large and it just makes me very happy. You could say this is a millennial pink, which kind of, I don't know how I feel about that, but that's okay. It's a cute mug. And actually these are flowers. Ta-da! I don't know how well you can see that, but they're flowers and they're gold. And it's just, yes. And then it's thundering, and isn't that amazing? I don't know if you can hear that, but it's thundering a lot. Anyway, enough about the weather, enough about the tea. Let's get on to some cracky chat. So today is a rainy day, which I love for multiple reasons. We're gonna get the weather talk out of the way at the very beginning because I can go off on a rant about the weather and nobody really wants that. So we're gonna just get it out of the way at the beginning. As I've mentioned before, I keep looking out the window because I have all the sliding doors up to our balcony open because it's cool, and like the rain and the rainy smell, and it's just like, and there's cars driving by, but you can hear the rain, and I can hear the rain. I don't know if you can hear the rain. So I keep looking out the window or door or whatever. I apologize. I will look at you because I'm talking to you. So yes, as I have said before, the rainy kind of weather, specifically cold rainy, is like my ultimate favorite weather of all time. I don't know if you have a favorite weather. I have a favorite weather, and it's that. And today is very close to that. It's not like cold, but it's definitely a lot colder than it has been the past couple weeks because it's been in like the upper 90s, upper 80s, real hot. So, yay Texas. But yes, it's much cooler today. I think it is supposed to be pretty hot, but right now the rain is like cooling everything down, so it's just very nice and chill. So I woke up this morning very early when my husband left for work, and it was like, I think I hear rain. It wasn't forecasted to rain. Like when did this pop up? And it was pouring, and it was lightning and thundering, and it was incredible. And it was like, I'm just gonna like lay in bed for a little bit longer and enjoy the rain, and it's going to be amazing. And my husband has texted me. So I was greatly enjoying the weather, just laying around in bed and just basking in the rain and thunder and the lightning, and also cat snuggles. So that was just amazing. And that's just really enjoyable. Plus it's Friday, and it's like, the weekend is coming. It'll be Saturday when you watch this, so it'll be the weekend. But it's like today, it was Friday, and it was like, I love this so much. And another reason why rain makes me so happy, specifically on Fridays, is that if it rains, I know there will be no work in the apartment complex. So I don't have to worry about noise. I don't have to worry about like that really, really frustrating, loud, annoying noise that comes by. And I really apologize for the past weeks that has been an issue. Thank you so much for being willing to put up with that. If I could avoid it, I would. Even if I woke up really early and recorded early, it still would sometimes happen. But when it rains, it doesn't happen. So let's just hope for rainy Fridays for the rest of forever when I podcast on Fridays. Because that would be really helpful. That is a very small reason though. Mostly it's because I enjoy the rain. I love rainies. So much fun. Plus then you can really enjoy your tea. You can enjoy it so much more than you would if it was hot outside and it's just like lots of cars driving by. But it's so nice outside. So yeah, enjoy your tea. And it's like good reading weather, and it's good knitting weather, good podcast, audiobook knitting weather. It's just like the best weather. I love it so much. Which is one of the reasons why I think I would really enjoy living in Europe, or specifically England, or other places that it gets very rainy, because this is, I know it's rainy over there pretty much all the time, and that would be incredible. I would love that, except I'm pretty sure after a while I would get pretty sick of it. But I don't know, I love it just so much. And I have ranted on about weather for almost 5 minutes, so we're going to stop talking about the weather and move on to knitting, which is why you guys are really here, because like I said, I can rant about the weather for forever. Moving on to some knitting. So first of all, I would like to mention, ooh, that thunders. First of all, I'd like to mention what I'm wearing. This is probably my very first, I don't know if it's my very first sweater, but it's definitely one of my first ever garments that I ever knit that I really enjoyed how it came out, and I still wear it all the time. It's one of those like bucket-y shawls, like, or cardigans, I guess. It's basically like a big circle, and then you make armholes, and then you pick up around the edge, I think, and then you do like a big shawl collar all the way around the thing. Sorry, I'm looking at myself so I can like demonstrate a little bit. It's one of those ones where there's no right or wrong side where you can wear it, so I could actually turn this over and wear it and it still would look the same. This was actually a class that I took at my local yarn store in Houston at the time, and I remember it very vividly. Actually, I did my first provisional cast on. That was exciting. That was a monumental moment, I remember. This is Noro. Like I said last week, I think, or a couple weeks ago, if you knew me in my early knitting career, everything was Noro, and this is a perfect example of that. But I'm really happy with how it turned out. A lot of the things that I knit when I was younger and early on in my knitting career, I look at now and I'm like, that was not a good choice. You didn't know how yarn worked really back then, but you experimented, and that's awesome. But you probably don't really like it that much now. This is not the case with this. I still love this so much. I love the colors. The yarn has held up so well. I don't remember what base this is. I think this might be the Curion, maybe. It's the one that's more like cottony. It's not the one that's like as rough. It's either Silk Garden or Curion. I don't remember which one. I think it's Curion. It'll be in the show notes, don't worry. And so the pattern was like a paper handout. It wasn't like, I don't think I was even on Ravelry at the time, which shows you how long ago that was, because I think I joined Ravelry in 2009 or something like that. I've been knitting for a long time. Let's just say that. So I was like, over the years as I've worn this, I've thought about like making another one, but thinking to myself, I don't have obviously I still don't have the pattern. The pattern got thrown away long time ago. And I don't know how I would find it on Ravelry. But a couple weeks ago, I did find it, and it's like this really random, like, I don't know, I don't even know what kind of pattern it is, I don't remember, I'm sorry, but I do have the pattern now, and like, I remember seeing those pictures on the printout, and I remember like, I just remember it, it's just, I know it's the same pattern. So, if you're interested in making one of these things, I highly recommend it. The pattern will be linked in the show notes, so don't worry. Yeah, if this was a learning experience, and so I think the only challenging thing that I remember was the provisional cast on. And it's just a lot of stitches, which at the time I was a little overwhelmed with, and it was just like, so many stitches on this one needle, what do I do? But it was fine, clearly I survived, and I want to make another one. So I might do that in the near future, because my stash has been greatly enhanced because my parents came back with a load of stuff, and I have sorted through all the yarn. The yarn has been sorted and stored for the most part, and yes, so I have a lot more stash than I did before, which is really amazing, because hashtag stash dash. So yes, very exciting. I want to make another one of these in the near future. There you go. Tea time. Also, this yarn just still smells good. It kind of reminds me actually of Yarntopia, of where I got it. And even though it's still really old and it's like been through a lot, been through several moves, yeah, it still smells of Yarntopia, which makes me really happy. So yeah, yay yarn, yay yarn. I've been enjoying this tea all morning, and I'm almost done, so I have to make this last throughout the whole recording. But that's okay, I can do it, I can do it! And if worse comes to worse, I can just stop and go make more, because that's okay. So that was a long segment about what I'm wearing. I wasn't planning to tell that. Oh, that thunder. I'm sorry, I'm just gonna be really distracted by the thunder whenever it happens, because it's just so nice. But I'll try not to be distracted. I do apologize. Moving forward, things that I am knitting on. Actually, no, we're gonna have dun dun dun. Drumroll, please. Stash dash. You might have seen on my Instagram yesterday on Thursday. So if when you're watching this, it will have happened 2 days ago on Thursday. I did post a picture of a hat that I had just finished. That is for Stash Dash. So I have finished another, let me figure out how many meters this is, because I had this written down, I think. Did I have this written down? I don't remember. Nope, I did not have that written down. So this was actually not originally on my Stash Dash list, but I remembered I had it. So it's now finished, and I don't remember what the meterage is on this, but now I would say maybe 250, maybe 300, 275 meters. Actually, that will be yardages in my estimations. I don't know for meters. I do apologize. It will be in the show notes, so do not worry. This, my friends, is a finished object, clearly. It is a hat, clearly, and clearly, there's that pom-pom, which is very wonderful. I enjoyed making a lot. What hat is this, you might ask? And you might remember, if you have been a viewer for a while, I started this hat back in February. So this has been a long time in coming. I would have finished it much sooner if I had put my mind to it. But I did not, because there were many other things that I wanted to knit on. This is the Aspen hat, and it is a Dandelion Girl pattern. There's a big, massive cable in the middle, and then there are these pardon the squeaky chair, these kind of sections of like a baby cable separating these big chunky cables. And it is very wonderful. I'm going to put this on, risking messing up my hair, but like, I mean, how can you not? So it's pretty, like, it's not slouchy. This is very attractive. It definitely looks more attractive with like hair that you can actually see. I'm glad that my hair is longer now, because before, when it was shorter, I definitely had that issue. But so yes, it is very wonderful. I do love it. I can also roll the brim, which I am just now realizing I can do, and wear it like that. We're experimenting here on the podcast, because that's just what we do. I'm gonna do that. That's cute. That's cute. And then, of course, it had to add the pom-pom. I'm gonna take this off, and we're gonna fix the hair. So that's all. That's all taken care of. So my friends, what is this yarn, you might ask? This is my own yarn. This is Cat Knit Yarns on the Cozy base, which is the worsted weight. And this this colorway is Candied Ginger, which is like a corally pink, salmony pink. So. And then the pom-pom is just some random white knit picks, wool of the Andes that I have lying around. So it is very wonderful. I am very excited to wear this, or either save it and give it away as a gift. I don't know. You never know, for Christmas purposes, because Christmas knitting is a thing. Either way, stash stuff has been completed. Oh yeah! And the thunder is celebrating. I will say though, so this was knit on like a size 8, I believe, 8 or 9, and the cable rounds take forever. And after a while, like knitting on it for long periods of time, my hands did start to hurt, because of like how thick the cables were and how much like stretching and pulling you had to do. That is no fault of the pattern. Well, I mean, that is what the pattern is, so that's that. But, and that's just my hands. So, just something to be aware of. The, these little baby cables right here, I was able to do without a cable needle, which was good practice, because it was just a 2-stitch cable, and one was going one way and the other was going the other way. So it was a good training for me, and to practice on the no cable needle cabling. These, on the other hand, the big ones, that there was no way, no way that I could do this without a cable needle, because that would just be terrible, terrible. So yes, the Aspen hat, Dandelion Girl pattern, Cat Knit Yarns on the Cozy base, and that is done. Woohoo! What else have I been knitting on this week? I have learned something new, which I will show you after I show you this thing. I finished the hat, and then I decided to pull out something that I have not been as excited about in past weeks, and decided to like make myself work on it because I knew I needed to, which like kind of goes against the whole like knit what makes you happy thing, but like I really want to finish this. I know it's gonna be amazing, so I need to like push through the fact that I'm not currently in love with it and just get over myself, because I know I eventually will. I just need to get back into the swing of things. And we will also remark before I show you what this is, yes, this is living in a Christmas bag, and why, I don't know. It just is. So, because, I mean, Christmas is happy, you can celebrate it all year round. Who doesn't want to do that? This is a Stitch by Jessa Lou bag. She makes probably my absolute favorite bags. I have so many of her bags. They are the best. I see another Christmas one sitting over there. And a summery one. Maybe I should transfer this into the summery one. I highly recommend her bags. They are the best, and she has super cute fabric all the time. She will be linked in the show notes. Do not worry. So yes, anyway, what is living in this bag, you might ask? You might remember, maybe you might remember, I don't know. I don't remember if I'd shown it to you. I have made some progress. because last night I was watching the general election over in England, and that was very exciting because that's what you do when you're in America. No. I was watching that, and we also started watching Twin Peaks. I've never seen Twin Peaks, but my husband has seen all of season 1 and part of season 2, I think. So it is a very interesting experience. It's one of those things where you like can only take so much of it at a time, because it's just so strange to me anyway. Also the fact that they literally only have like 3 or 4 soundtracks for the whole thing. So every time this one particular song comes on, it's just like, not again? No, stop. And so it's kind of making it hard for me to like take it seriously. I am really enjoying the storyline though. I'm looking forward to finding out what happens. So we watched a lot of that last night as well while I was keeping an eye on the general election. So yes. What is this? You might recognize this because this took the internet, the knitting internet world, by storm a couple months ago. Maybe at the end of last year. This is Find Your Fade by Andrea. I heard someone say her last name Mowry, that makes a lot more sense than what I was saying, which was Mowry. So I do apologize if I was saying her name wrong. Mowry, I don't know. I do apologize, but she's the one who designed this. Already, this is taking up the whole little screen thing, so this is going to get even larger because I am not even done with the 3rd color yet out of 7 colors. So yes, this is just going to continue to grow out that way and create kind of like a kite shape, almost a very strange kite shape. I am getting very close to the point where you don't increase any more stitches, which I am just so excited about because I am not loving this lace. This lace is just so frustrating. Yeah, I'm just not in love with this lace. I don't know why. Something about it is just not making sense to me. And that, again, it's no fault of the pattern. It is just literally my mind not being able to wrap itself around what I'm doing. I can pretty much get down each line as I go, but once I move on to the next line, I completely forget what I did. Which I know that like the lace part itself is very easy. It's just like a decrease, a couple yarn overs, and then you do that a couple times and then you're good. But it's the whole like making sure that the lace lines up properly and doing it to a certain amount of stitches before the marker, which I didn't have a marker because of the whole decrease issues, so that really threw me off trying to get myself reoriented. But I think I got myself reoriented. Excuse me. So I'm almost done with like the first repeat of lace in the 3rd color. And you do this lace thing a couple more times and then you move on to the next color fading section, which is very exciting. I have a bag over here that is full of other yarn, but most of my yarn, a lot of this is Find Your Fade colors that I had planned. And I have stuff falling off the shelves. No! My shelf is now packed with yarn, which is amazing, but it all falls off. So, yes, I think the next color, pardon the squeaky chair, I think the next color I actually have in here, and I will go over my yarns in just a moment. Actually, we'll just start from the beginning before I tell you what I'm doing next. Okay, getting very distracted. Okay, so the first color is Madeline Tosh Merino Light, and I looked this up and put it on I'm going to do better about my Revelry project page for this, because before I was like, I'm not going to work on the yarns because that just seems dumb. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put them on as I go, so I remember which ones they are. But this one, for example, and some of the other ones, I'm going to have to look up what their colorway names are. I know what yarn it is, and it's all Madeline Tosh Merino Light. I had no idea what colorway this was, just because this was like half of a skein, and this is very accurate. This is perfectly accurate. It's another good thing about rainy weather and recording in the rain, because the lighting is mighty fine. So good. Anyway, so this is Madeline Tosh Merino Light in the Posy colorway. It's very nice rosy pink. The second colorway is one of my own yarns. It is Catnip Yarns on the Pizzazz base, which has Selena in it, in the rosé colorway. I don't know how well you can see the Selena, but it is there. And then this is Madeline Tosh Merino Light in the Sugar Plum colorway, I believe. So that is that. And then my next colorway will be another Madeline Tosh Merino Light, and I don't know what colorway this is. I have not looked it up yet. But that's pretty accurate. It's a little bit more pinky in person, but that is very accurate. So yes, it'll fade, strands going everywhere, fade into that, and it will go into like a blue theme. So I'm excited about it. Currently living in a Christmas bag. Can't complain because Christmas is awesome, even though it's June. But I mean, at the rate this year's going, it'll be Christmas before you know it. So yes. So that is that for that knitting. I haven't really worked on other knitting. I have worked a little bit on my my Brecken sleeve, but it's not enough to show you. I've just made another like inch and a half or so of progress. I'm still working on the increases, those millions and millions of increases, but that's fine. It's very minor. It's very easy just to like throw in my bag if we're like driving somewhere and I need some card knitting, or I just want something that is very easy to focus on and I don't really need to think about it, which would be no focusing. So no focusing. I would not be focusing on. So yes, I have been working on that. Still working. As soon as that sleeve is done, I will be casting on the body, which I'm very excited about. The body will obviously take me considerably a lot longer, unless I just power through it. And I might. You never know. That could happen. We will see. I have to finish the sleeve first, so there is that. So I mentioned earlier that I learned something new this week, which I learned a lot of new things this week, but just like random items of life, as you do, which is always good. Tangent, not important. But I learned something new in regards to fiber and yarn. If you follow me on Instagram, which you definitely should, because obviously I update it all the time. If you follow me on Instagram, you probably saw a picture of a crocheted thing, or something that contained a crochet hook, which, as I said before, I don't crochet. And when I say I don't crochet, I know how to like do the granny stripe blanket. I know how to do a chain. I know how to do things, but I don't know why I'm doing them. With knitting, it's just kind of like I know what I'm doing, I know why I'm doing it, I know like I could explain it to someone, I could teach someone. With crocheting, it's just like I know the motions and I don't understand what I'm doing. I just remember seeing someone do it on YouTube. I just remember someone explaining it to me on YouTube, and I don't know why I'm doing it. Which I know like is not the best way to like proceed through life with crocheting, but since I'm not like super dedicated to learning how to further my crocheting knowledge, I'm fine with just knowing the simple things. Or just remembering the actions and emotions, because yay, muscle memory. So yes, I have made a lot of progress on this since I last posted on Instagram, because when I posted on Instagram, I was literally just getting started. And what is this? So I will say before I continue, this yarn, I got this yarn when I was working at my local yarn store, and I was going to be making a Tunisian crochet blanket, and it was beautiful. It was gorgeous. I loved it so much, and I then stopped working on it and completely forgot how to do it. So I ripped it all out, which is fine because there's a car driving by. There was only like 3 or 4 rows of like doing little squares, which I know that Tunisian crochet doesn't necessarily mean squares, but it was like you do a row of squares and then you go back a row of squares, and they're all like kind of like the memory blanket squares almost. I don't know if I'm explaining this correctly, but anyway, I completely forgot how to do it. And then also the chain that I had made to start it was like super tight, so the bottom of the blanket was like really like sucked in and kind of like wavy, and the rest of the blanket, as I had gotten used to the stitch, it was just like normal. But I hated the fact that the bottom was like really tight, and I knew that would bug me. So overall, it was probably a good thing that I ripped it out. I do in fact have 10 balls of this particular yarn, so I was like, gonna be a blanket for sure, because it's definitely 100% acrylic. It'll be a good blanket. Let me hold on to the crochet hook some way and stick it in my hair. Hopefully that'll stay. Oop, that's not gonna stay. Uh-oh. Stay. There we go. That's gonna stay. Okay. So what is the yarn? The yarn is Marble Chunky. It's not the Glamour, which I've never actually seen the Glamour, but I know it's an option because I looked it up on Ravelry, and I now have a project page for this. So if you have any interest, you can look at it on Ravelry. So yes, this is Marble Chunky in the Volcano colorway, which I don't know if it's called Volcano. It wasn't popping up on Ravelry, but I've seen it online called Volcano, so I'm just gonna call it Volcano. That was a card. That was not thunder. It's getting lighter. I hope it doesn't stop raining. That would be very sad. So yes, this is very like puffy. It's like a 2-ply yarn, and it's one of those types of yarns where like both the plies are different colors and they change at different times, so you get this really beautiful effect of marbling and barber pulling. Which, fun fact, things you probably didn't know about me, if you followed my blog way back when I was just learning how to spin, I thought that barber pulling was called Barbara pulling, which I wrote about it on my blog, and I spelled out Barbara pulling and was like, this is super cool, I'm learning how to do barber pulling. And I had very nice comments from people being like, it's not Barbara pulling, it's barber pulling, which is literally what this yarn is. It's when you have 2 strands of yarn that are different colors and they twist together to make a very nice effect. Let me show you another example of that, because I have a lot of hand spun over here. A good example of barber pulling. It's when, this is my hand spun by the way, it's very wonderful. I'm very excited about how this turned out, so beautiful. I was reunited with it when my parents brought my stash. It was very wonderful of them. So yes, it is when you have 2 different strands, 2 different colors, they get plied together and you create a barber pull, which makes sense because barber pulls are the red and white and they twist around. So not Barbara pulling. Nope. Things you learn, the more you know. So yes. Loud noises. Go away. So yes, that's what this yarn does, and I love those types of yarns just because like seeing the way the colors interact and see how they play together and just how it like works up is just so exciting. I love that. And now without further ado, I will show you what I have been working on, which, uh-oh, it's falling out with my hair. Okay, hopefully it'll stay. So, this is what I have so far. Oop. Well, that was not useful. We're just gonna put it right here. Okay, so yes, this is a crocheted blanket. This is using the corner to corner technique, or the pattern. I don't know if it's a technique or a pattern. All I know, like I said, I know the motions. I don't know why or how it works. All I know is that I increase on both sides, and in the middle I do a different thing. I only change what I do on the ends because I'm increasing like a little baby half square, half diamond, whatever. So there are lots of different ways that you can learn how to do this. I personally prefer to have a visual and an audio. I cannot do just the pictures unless I already know what I'm doing. Like with grafting, I'm fine with just pictures because I know what I'm doing. But with crocheting, I need someone to be like, then you go into this third chain here, and then you do this, you wrap the yarn, then you do another chain, and I'm like, I need more information. So YouTube, hallelujah for YouTube. That is how I learned how to do this. I did download a pattern that I thought would be very helpful, but I was not able to learn from the pattern because I needed the audio. Which that is just my personal preference. I am not saying the pattern is bad at all. I'm sure the pattern is very wonderful because there are a lot of like step-by-step pictures. I will link that pattern in the show notes. I believe that is the pattern that I linked on my project page, so that will show up. But yes, I'll also link the tutorial that I watched on YouTube. It is very long, and yeah, it was just really nice like hearing someone talk about what they were doing and like be able to see what they were doing at the same time, because my crochet knowledge is 0. So yes, it is very wonderful. It'll eventually be a blanket. I had a little mess up right here, but that's okay because beginning crocheters, we don't, it's just a design element. I have seen a lot of people like do, once they finish the blanket, they'll do like a slip stitch edge or some kind of fancy looking edge, which just kind of evens it out, which I love the look of. So that's probably what I'm gonna do. And yeah, I love the way that this yarn looks with this pattern. I love that like it makes it look like that each row is just one stripe. Yes, so I'm very excited to continue working on this. I know it'll take me a long time. I am not saying that I will be done with this by next week, because that, though that would be wonderful, that's not gonna happen. Pardon the squeaky chair. But yes, it's just a very like, it's a dense fabric, but it's not so dense that it like can stand up by itself, which is not what I was looking for. What hook am I using? I've seen when I was doing my research for what pattern I was going to use and like how I was going to do it, a lot of people were suggesting either a J or an H hook, which I had neither, but I did have an I hook, so that's what I'm using. The other hooks that I had were way too big. I think the smallest one of the big needles crochet hooks that I had was like, was like an L, which was too big. And I actually started out with that, and it was just too like, it's too holy, these holes were too big. I didn't want a blanket where you could like get your fingers stuck through, or you could get like rings snagged on it. So which, I mean, you can still like poke your fingers through this, the tighter, they're emptying the trash. Goodness, if it's not one thing, it's the other. They never do this on Friday. They don't do this on Friday. I don't know why they're doing it today. That's weird. So, yes, I mean, you can stick your fingers through on, like, the tighter crocheted part, but not nearly as much as the more open section down here at the bottom. So, just me experimenting and seeing what works for me. So yes, I'm very excited about this. I just love how it looks. These are definitely not the colors that, like, we don't have a color theme or whatever for our apartment. Oh, just throwing a crochet hook for our apartment, but if we did, it probably wouldn't be these colors. Hello. But yes, it probably wouldn't be these colors. I still love these colors. It's just not that, like, I don't think they would blend with the stuff in our apartment, but that's okay because, you know, sometimes you have those random blankets that are like, why in the world do you have those blankets? They don't match anything. Same thing with my granny stripe blanket. Obviously that blanket is rows and rows of multiple colors that have no matching sense whatsoever with anything. So you do what you gotta do. I like it. Crochet what you like. Crochet what makes you happy. And that is this. So my goal is to, like, add a couple rows every day, and now that I've shown it to you, I will add a progress keeper and hopefully be able to track my progress as I go. So hopefully by next week you will see that I have made a lot of progress. I will say though that one problem about crocheting, and this is only because I don't know how to crochet very well, is that I cannot crochet and not look at my work. I have to look at my work. I have to be like, okay, now I do this, then I do that. Don't forget to chain 3, all that kind of stuff. Also, the pattern that is linked in my profile page is free, so that is a plus. And obviously the YouTube video is free, so yay, yay, yay. So yeah, I can't, it's hard to watch things like Twin Peaks that I need to be super focused on, because I have to, like, look at my hands. It's not that big a deal. I can really, I just need to get over it, but sometimes it's just like, I just want to watch the TV, but I also want to work in my blanket. Motivation to get better at crocheting, I guess. So that is that. Corner to corner blanket, marble chunky yarn. That is a work in progress. And the garbage men are getting very loud. So I see that we have reached almost an hour, and I have talked about all the knitting things, I think, and the garbage men are getting very loud, so I should probably wrap this up soon. But one other thing I will say, in regards to TV shows that we have been watching, mainly me, because I'm the only one who enjoys this, or we enjoy, my husband and I make fun of this show. We enjoy making fun of this show. I'm laughing about how cheesy it is. What is this show? I will tell you instead of just, like, telling you about what we think of the show. So I have started watching The Heart of Dixie, which is on Netflix. Also Twin Peaks is on Netflix, by the way. The Heart of Dixie, it's about this little town in Alabama, and this doctor that comes, and her, like, getting to know the people in Bluebell, Alabama, and all that jazz. So it's kind of ridiculous. I'm not gonna say that it's, like, super profound. There's not a lot of, like, deep thoughts. It's pretty fluffy. But I mean, it's good to have a fluffy show that you can just, like, turn on and let it run and, like, have it in the background. And then you get wrapped up in the characters, and then you start really caring about the show, and it's just like, I need to keep watching this. There's only 4 seasons on Netflix. I don't know how many more there are. I don't know if it's still going. We're almost done with season 2. Oh, I think we started season 3 recently. I think. So, getting close to the end of what is available. Do you mind? So yes, in regards to TV shows, that is what we have been watching. also Twin Peaks. Mainly Twin Peaks, because we also watch Riverdale, and that is another discussion. Another discussion. If that tells you anything about how I feel about Riverdale, that is another discussion. I don't know if that tells you anything, just says that I have a lot to say. I didn't enjoy it. Let's just say that. I did not enjoy Riverdale. Anyway, so with that, on that very positive note, people are getting more loud. So, on that very positive and happy note, are you serious? Okay, good. I was gonna say no. Oh no. No, no, no. I'm so close to being done with recording. Do not have a car alarm go off right now. So yes, without further ado, I will bring this episode to a close. Thank you so much for coming back and watching this episode. If you are a returning viewer, thank you so much for giving me some time out of your day. I really appreciate it. If you are a new viewer, I hope you enjoy what you saw. I hope I am not too rambly. I do tend to do that, but that is what this podcast is. So, hopefully you enjoyed it. The show notes will be found on my blog. That will be linked down below if you're on YouTube. If you're on my blog, it'll just be there. All my various social medias will be linked down below as well. There's Facebook, Twitter, Ravelry, and Instagram. If you would like to be most up to date on what I do, I highly recommend you following me on Instagram. I am very, very, very active on there. Also kind of on Twitter. Which is just very random tweets from me and me retweeting pictures of cats. And sometimes funny quotes. So, it's up to you. If you need to just pick one social media, I highly recommend Instagram. Yes. So Instagram, for sure. What was I saying? There's a Ravelry podcast group, which you can go and introduce yourself. That would be very wonderful. There's also an Ask Me Anything thread. There were no questions this week, so that's why there's no Ask Me Anything segment. But yes, if you go to Ravelry and you click on the groups tab and search Catnip Podcast, it'll pop up. That'll be great. There you go. There's also an online store that I have where you can go and buy some of my hand-dyed yarn. That's catnityarns.bigcartel.com. That'll also be linked down below. And yes, I am going to go edit this and still enjoy the little rain that is left as it is getting lighter, and I think the clouds are kind of going away, which is kind of sad, but that's okay. I will enjoy the rain while we have it. And I will enjoy my knitting and my tea while I edit this podcast, because I like to knit while I edit and I get a lot of knitting done. So Find Your Fade will probably get a lot of progress, so that's good. Always good to get progress on knitting done, especially for Stash Dash. Also, I completely forgot to mention Stash Dash and in general. So if you don't know what Stash Dash is, there will be a link in the show notes. Do not worry. Everything will be explained there. It's basically knitting like a 5K or whatever K you want. In a nutshell, that is what that is. But don't worry. The links to all the rules will be in the show notes if you would like to join in. I don't think there's any rules about when you join in. It goes until August, so yay. And yes, I hope you have had a wonderful week. I hope you continue to have a wonderful weekend. If you have crafty plans, I hope they are successful. Hopefully my knitting while editing crafting will be very successful. That would be very wonderful. And yes, I guess I'll see you guys next week. Bye. I always have weird waves. It feels weird waving like this. I'm always like, jazz hands. Woo. And right as I stop recording, all the noisy stuff goes away. Except for the one bird. But that's okay. It's a bird. We'll give it that. Not a car. Oh, the woe is a podcast.